Okay, what if I told you the single biggest difference between being financially successful and constantly struggling boils down to just one simple question? Well, today we're going to unpack that very question, and we're going to talk about the powerful idea at its core, the difference between what you truly need and what you kind of want. So let's just dive right in. We're starting with what I like to call the billion-dollar question, and I'm not kidding, because getting this right can literally be worth a fortune over your lifetime. So here it is. And seriously, take a second and really think about it. The answer to this one question is one of the most reliable predictors of whether someone builds real wealth or just spends their whole life treading water. And there it is. It's all about being able to tell the difference between a need and a want. Sounds simple, right? But listen, in a world that spends billions of dollars to intentionally blur that line, it's actually one of the hardest and most valuable skills you can possibly master. So if we're going to master this, we have to get really clear with our definitions. Let's break down what we're actually talking about here. All right, first up, a need. These are the absolute non-negotiables. We're talking about food, shelter, healthcare, the basic transportation you got to have to earn a living. Think of these as the foundation. Without them, everything else gets real difficult real fast. And then you've got your wants. These are the things that add the fun to life. You know, the gourmet coffee, the weekend trip, the latest phone. And let's be super clear, wants aren't bad. They're great. The goal isn't to live like a hermit. The real danger is when we start treating these wants with the same life or death urgency as our needs. This right here is a fantastic way to think about it. A need is about the core function. A want is all about the specifics, usually the fancier, upgraded version you choose to fill that function. I love this quote because it just nails it. You need clothes for warmth and, to not be naked. That's the function. But you want the designer jacket. That's the specifics. You need a way to get to work, but you want the brand new SUV. See the difference? That's the whole ball game right there. Okay, now we're entering the trickiest part of all this. This is where most of us get tripped up, and honestly, it's where the most expensive financial mistakes happen. Welcome to what we're calling the gray zone. So the gray zone is this sneaky place where a real, genuine need gets tangled up with a really costly want. It's where we start telling ourselves a story. We know we need something, but the version we're reaching for is actually a want wearing a need costume. Let's make this super real. You absolutely need food to live, right? No question. But is that $15 takeout a need, or is it a want when a $3 home-cooked meal does the exact same thing? You need a reliable car for your commute, for sure. But is the $35,000 new model a need, or could a perfectly reliable $8,000 used car do the job just as well? This is the gray zone in action. So how do you get through this minefield? You arm yourself with one incredibly powerful question. What is the actual function I'm trying to meet here? This question forces you to be intentional. It's not about being cheap for the sake of being cheap. It's about making a conscious choice instead of just automatically going for the expensive option. Now, this isn't just some internal battle of willpower. You have to know that there are massive, powerful forces designed specifically to push you into that gray zone and keep you there. Let's talk about the wants we are constantly being sold. Just take a look at this number. $600 billion. That's how much the global ad industry is worth every single year. And its entire purpose, its whole reason for being, is to blur that line between your wants and your needs. That's the game. This pressure comes at you from two main directions. First, you've got marketing, which is literally engineered by psychologists to create a powerful feeling of urgency and desire. Then, you've got good old peer pressure, that social current that makes you feel like you need to keep up. But here's the crucial thing to remember. The feeling might be 100% real, but that doesn't change the fact that the purchase is still a want. So how in the world do you fight back against a multi-billion-dollar industry? With one simple, unbelievably powerful habit: the pause. Before you click buy, especially when you feel that emotional tug, just stop. Take one breath and ask yourself that question. That little moment of reflection is your best defense, and it can save you thousands of dollars a year. No exaggeration. Okay, so we've defined our terms, we've learned how to navigate the gray zone, and we've unmasked the outside forces at play. Now, let's pull it all together into one simple, powerful rule that puts you back in the driver's seat. This is it, the golden rule, And the sequence here is absolutely critical. It's non-negotiable. First, you use your money to cover your needs. Done? Second, before you do anything else, you pay your future self by saving. And then, and only then, with whatever is left over, you happily go fund your wants. And when you follow this order, something amazing happens. Your needs are always met, your savings are consistently growing, and you can enjoy spending money on your wants completely guilt-free because you know the important stuff is already handled. That, my friends, is what financial peace feels like. So as we wrap up, I'll just leave you with this one little challenge. Take a really honest look at your spending. What is one want, maybe one of those tricky gray zone items, that you can reevaluate this week? Answering that question for yourself could be the first step on a whole new path to real financial freedom.